It's the Score North Twin Show.
It's a State of the Twins Monday here. But I have a question for you guys before we dive into the State of the Twins categories on the Score North Twin Show. We got our resident beat podcaster, Declan, spending every waking second at the ballpark, roaming around the clubhouse, gathering information and knowledge for you, the listener and the viewer of the show. The sports dad, Judd Zolgad, who has seen more baseball than any of us. I used to cover the Twins as a beat writer. As happens on Twitter sometimes, people go back and find your old takes. And I don't know how many people have now clowned me for this in the last 12 hours, but
oh boy,
the tweet that was dug up is from June 12th, 2019. So my question before I read this old take exposed is, what is the statute of Twitter limitations where, like, if you have a take 5 years ago and it takes 5 years for people to dig it up and to clown you about it, are you still liable for that take? So here was the take from June 12th, 2019. I tweeted, Glenn Perkins and I were discussing earlier today on Score North. The Score North Twin Show used to be a radio show back in 2019-20, and Glenn Perkins was a weekly guest, much like Trevor Plouffe is now. So Glenn Perkins and I were discussing earlier today on Score North. Would you trade Royce Lewis, who had just recently been drafted, for 2.5 years of Noah Syndergaard to give the Bomba Squad Twins of 2019 a number one ace caliber pitcher going into the playoff run? Glenn, by the way, retweeted this. I'm going to throw him under the bus. He retweeted this and said, in a heartbeat, I would make that trade. So people are now taking this and clobbering me over that. Is it fair for, by the way, well, I guess in a subsequent tweet, I said I would pull the trigger on this. So I did say I would pull the trigger on Royce Lewis by the way, who didn't help the Twins at all in 2019 or 20 or 21.
Right.
For an ace caliber pitcher for the 2019 Bomba Squad Twins. Do I deserve my comeuppance today for this?
Well, first of all, whoever found this and did the digging to find it, kudos to you. That's a lot of work to find a tweet. I'm not sure if the person remembered it or why
you can bookmark tweets now.
Okay.
I don't know if you could then or not, but you can. When people bookmark, you'll see when you look at a tweet that you send out, you'll see how many people replied or retweet. You'll also see how many people bookmarked it. Those are probably people looking to play gotcha later on.
What's the bookmark icon?
It's like a little
looks like
a ribbon. Kind of looks like a ribbon.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that, so that's great. But yeah, nice work by that person. No, I think the statute, I think he got 3 years tops. I think he got 3 years,
especially with baseball.
Yeah, it can't be 5. Because what if they gotten Syndergaard?
He blew out his arm and didn't pitch for 2 years after that.
Yeah,
but 31-year-old free agent.
But when? But at what point?
It wouldn't. I think he was out at some point. I can look up his game log, but
okay, I'm just curious.
Let's look about.
I think it's 3 years. I don't think you can do 5 years in sports.
With baseball, it takes 5 years for that guy to come up here and be as impactful. Maybe not with Royce's case, 4 years, whatever.
Right.
He was really good last year too. But with baseball, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. And if Noah Syndergaard did stay healthy in 2019, I know you're confirming this, and he's the difference maker for the Twins maybe making a run and to get the World Series. If that's a guarantee back then, would you still go back and redo it?
Right. And Royce Lewis is...
You guys are defending my take. I appreciate it.
Well, no, I just think it's 3 years because here's the thing too, though. So you opened Pandora's box, Phil, to a discussion that I've been thinking about as well, and that is the gotcha tweet, right? Would you traded Royce Lewis? Royce, if you're watching now, you know that this is true, and I know that you like to watch our stuff. So, but everyone knows this too. Don't gotcha until he plays a full season.
Well, okay, but on the Noah Syndergaard front, so the idea at the time was You can win the World Series this year and probably next year. We didn't know that there was a pandemic coming and whatever.
Right.
This is like a 2 or 3 year window with the greatest power hitting team in all of baseball.
Yes.
Do you take a piece that's not going to help you for like 4 more years, best case scenario, and push him out for a pitcher that can help you win? Well, Noah Syndergaard was clearly banged up. I don't know if he had like elbow or shoulder or whatever it was, but so he had like a 4 ERA from that point forward in 2019, but he did at the end of August, the wheels started really falling off the track for him. He gave up 10 runs against the Cubs on August 28th. And then if you take his starts from August 28th until the end of the year, he had a 7 ERA.
Well,
and he gave up 9 homers in the last month of the year. So it would.
The shocking thing is they didn't make this trade. That's the shocking thing. Like the Twins love the. Hey, you're injured
pitcher.
You're damaged. Come on, join the club. But let's go back to the gotcha thing. Okay, so like Royce Lewis, yeah, he's great right now. But first of all, he's got to play a full season healthy. Second of all, this spins off to the one that's driving me crazy now, and that's the Carlos Correa victory laps of he's playing great shortstop, but he needs to rake. And then fans are like, well, see, he's raking now. Yes,
well, he is raking.
Well, right, but the gotcha falls short because of this. When people said he needs to rake, those people were referring to what we're seeing. So you don't get the gotcha because we knew that this was there.
So you're saying you wanted him to hit better like a month ago, and now that he is, people can't go back and say, see, he's hit.
Like, I was right. Okay. I'm rewarded because now you're being proven that your defense fell very, very short. You were wrong. He was capable.
Also, I guess
so. The gotcha is dangerous.
But even before this hot stretch for Correa, he was hitting well. Like he had like an OPS that was well over league average.
I'm talking a year ago, though. But a year ago he wasn't. And I was like, for what you're paying him, you need to get more.
But a year ago, he had a broken foot.
I understand that.
I mean, that was my pushback to your pushback of you were pushing Carlos and I was pushing you and saying, dude, let his foot. Like here's the telltale. People want to talk about Correa statistically and everything, rightfully so, right? He's one of the hottest hitters on the planet the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
The stat that stands out the most to me for him: 3 ground ball double plays. He had 30 last year, a league leading 30, because his foot wasn't right, his foot speed wasn't there, which meant his mechanics and everything.
And he still played well at short. But the fact is, I was right. There was more there. And he's done with
because he was hurt though last year. I mean,
right?
Are you arguing that injury had nothing to do with?
No. I'm arguing that I was right. There was more there. He's healthy now. The people that were defending him a year ago did not say, well, he's hurt. They just said, well, lay off. He's fine. It's fine. And it's not fine. There's way more there. He got healthy. We're seeing I was right.
I feel like you're trying to compare two situations here.
No, the gotcha community, again, falling short because there are a bunch of people that are homers and will defend the team at all costs. And it's like, no, you got to push people. You got to see what they got. And now Correa is healthy and he's playing great. But even earlier this year, there was more. There was more, and I knew it.
And but he's not going to. Okay. I want to warn you now.
He's not going to do this.
He's not going to have.
I know.
But this type of production all season.
I understand
this is how baseball works.
But this month shows you when he is. We have never seen this type of streak. I mean, hell, he might not have had one, but I knew it. I knew it was there. I knew it could come out, and now we're seeing it.
This is the second best season he's had in his career offensively. 2017 was his real.
This is great.
Breakout. So, okay, let's get into the actual state of the Twins here. Overview: 41-32 record. Or wait, no,
40.
Is that 40?
40-32.
40-32 record.
5.5 back.
Third place in the American League Central. 5.5. They've jumped from 16th to 9th in runs scored per game in the last week. That's on the season. 20th in runs allowed per game. According to Baseball Reference, the Twins have a 77% chance to make the playoffs and a 7% chance to win the World Series. So in 1 week, they've gone from 3% to win the World Series to 7%. We're all over the place here on Baseball Reference. So Twins vibes are blank right now. Declan.
Twins vibes are worthy. They are worthy. We just talked about Carlos Correa going through an absurd stretch. And Royce Lewis is probably going to be leading the team in home runs by this time next week because he already has 7 in 39 plate appearances at bats this year, which is insane. Jeffers leads the team with 12, and he's already come up here. The last time the Twins really had an absurd 1-2 punch in their lineup like this was Mauer and Morneau at their peak. That was it. You had a batting average champ. You had a guy who was perennial MVP votes. Both those guys were perennial MVP guys. And now you're not going to see Correa hitting .511 like he is over his last 11 games. But if you get the normal version of Carlos Correa that you're used to, and you get Royce Lewis, who we still truly don't know if his ceiling is like Mookie Betts or if there's a cliff that's about to drop off here. I don't think there's a cliff that's going to drop off with him.
Well, there will be of some kind.
Some kind. But my point is,
he's
this
slugging
isn't a fluke.
1,000.
Yeah, this isn't a fluke. This isn't what you're seeing from Royce Lewis. I do think is legitimately talking about a Mookie Betts-esque player. I do think you're getting that. You're going to get that. So with him and Correa, the vibes are worthy. And with the Twins struggling against good teams, as they're kicking the asses of teams that don't really matter in Oakland and Colorado, I understand there's maybe some frustration there of trying to figure out what and how good the Twins are. The vibes are worthy because you have 2 absurdly good players in your lineup right now that can make up for a lot of deficiencies.
Okay. Judd, Twins vibes are blank right now.
They're opportunistic. So to Declan's last point, this team has done a marvelous job of beating up on teams that are either mediocre or in the last week bad. So you won 2 or 3 against a Rockies team. I went to one game. I couldn't go back. It was so bad to watch. And it wasn't the Twins' fault. The A's were not as bad in my opinion, but they're still bad. The Twins are against teams that are below 500 right now. The Twins are 28-11 against winning teams. And I'm not saying that they should be perfect because yes, they are winning teams, but they're 12-21, including the 0-14 we've talked about a bunch against the Orioles, the Guardians, and Yankees. They're opportunistic. I think the question now is, can you parlay this? Can you take this opportunistic path and can you start to beat the better teams? You're done with the Yankees, I guess, thankfully. You've got 3 left.
Now.
You got 3 left. I think it's late in the year. I'm not positive against the O's. And then more importantly, the Guardians are in your division. Can you now start to show, I'm not asking you to show the type of dominance that you do against the Rockies, but I am asking you can you take the opportunistic confidence that you built and build upon that to beat the good teams at least somewhat consistently? I'm not asking you to do it every single game again to your point, Phil. It's baseball. But I would call them opportunistic because I do think the last week we all have to slow down a little bit and say, okay, they're winning. That's awesome. Those teams are on their schedule. Those are really some bad baseball teams. But to Declan's point, I also think that we're seeing some good things. Can you now parlay that into some consistency against the good teams?
Well, regardless of the level of consistency, they are a 90-win pace team right now. So, yeah, at some point you're going to have to beat, if you want to win in October, you're not facing the Rockies and the A's in October. So
we play the Rockies.
It'd be great if you could sub them in. Maybe that's a new twist baseball could put in where you just the number 1 seed gets a wild card play. You just get to bring the Pirates in for a series. I would say Twins vibes are swaggy right now. They look like they think they are one of the best teams in baseball. At least the lineup does. The way that they've broken out the last couple weeks, and again, it's not the greatest competition, but the way Carlos Correa is playing right now, Royce Lewis, the way he's played basically his entire stop-start career, and then even the Jose Miranda home run in the 8th inning last night. When I say swaggy, that dude connects on a breaking ball, hits it 5 miles over the fence in left field, he immediately makes contact, turns to the dugout, and gives a tongue out sort of He gives him like a little sign and sticks the tongue out. I mean, there's just something. This team thinks that they are really, really good. They've got Carlos Correa as the ringleader here. They've got 14 different like clubhouse and dugout celebrations for home runs for post game. So it kind of feels like the Twins they're like the guy at the bar who thinks he's better looking and more suave maybe than he is, but it works because he's confident. Like that's what the Twins feel like to me right now. That okay, they're clearly you're not the Yankees, and clearly you're not what the Guardians have been so far, but you think you are, and there is some value in believing or faking it until you make it.
I think your comparison is apt, though. It feels like the guy at the bar, and my question is, can you now go to the club? Can you go to the club where it's more swanky, where the gals are prettier, and
the guys are prettier?
And the guys are prettier. Exactly. The competition. You got the Yankees.
More importantly, perhaps.
Yeah. Exactly right. Can you go to the club and can you do this? Because I think you're right. Like, it's funny too, because okay, they get swept by the Yankees. Then they go play the Pirates and they lose the first 2 games and don't score a run. But then they win on Sunday in Pittsburgh, right? And I think we all said, "Oh, okay, they're going to go on a run now." And they very much have. So can you just keep that, like, can you graduate from being at the bar and say, we're going clubbing now till 4 a.m? Can you hang at the club?
4 a.m. gives me anxiety. I feel like.
Oh, well, now it does. But if you were young, it didn't.
Yeah, even when I was young,
really?
2 o'clock felt like nothing. Who said like nothing good happens? Herm Edwards said nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah. I stayed last Saturday, not this previous one, 2 Saturdays ago. I stayed up till 3 a.m. with a buddy, and it's the by the way latest I have done that though in a year plus. I haven't been up till 3 in a long time.
Enjoy it now.
But I can, yeah.
Enjoy it now because you're close to the cliff.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm at the cliff.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, the body reacts a little differently.
Oh God, tell me about it.
We'll get to favorite Twins thing and least favorite Twins thing here in a second after we shout out our friends at EcoFun. EcoFun Motorsports, your summertime fun headquarters. They carry a full line of scooters, motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, electric bikes, and on the water side, 2024 Kawasaki and Yamaha watercraft. So there's 2 locations, EcoFun. Forest Lake on the north edge of the metro. They also carry watercraft. And the Burnsville location, south edge of the metro. Your summertime fun headquarters, ecofunmotorsports.com, to find out more information and to look at the selection that they have. Also, our friends at Nicolay Law are here as the exclusive personal injury law firm of the Score North Twin Show. Nicolay Law knows that when you or a loved one gets injured, put on that IL, that ordinary life can come to a stop, things can get complicated. They have seen every play the insurance companies have, and they are here at Nicolay Law to make sure you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay, nicolaylaw.com, or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY.
Baseball.
Hey, Russ, we need B-roll of you, Target Field now. He's all over. He's got signage and stuff. Like, let's mix it up. So for the Score North Twin Show, we get you strutting around Target Field.
I'm sure, they probably have that. Our people send a message to.
I'm just saying,
Russell Nicolay's people. Yeah. Dex, why don't you go first here? Your favorite current Twins thing.
So obviously, Correa, Royce Lewis have this awesome relationship. So yesterday, there was a moment in game 1 of the doubleheader where they go back-to-back. Correa hits a bomb, and then Correa comes over to Royce Lewis after he touches home plate, and he does, kind of the whisper thing. He tells him something. It was very obvious that this happened. And Correa does this all the time. This is not a new thing Correa does. And I asked Royce Lewis about this. Now, he told me, and I think this is maybe a little bit of player speak. He said, he just told me, I got to stick to my approach, and I stay on this pitch, blah, blah, blah. But really, Carlos Correa, what he likes to do during these moments is he likes to come over to players and do goofy things. So the other day, they were in the field, and Correa told Royce to come over here, and he just starts singing Where the Wild Things Are by Luke Combs, and he makes Royce Lewis sing along with him. and he can't leave until he sings along with
So
them.
he's not, because I think everyone who saw that thought, oh, he's tipping his pitches. Hey, he's flaring his glove. Just look out for this, right? But he might just be whispering lyrics to like
He might just be
a country song.
doing song lyrics to him. And now,
I
look,
got friends in low places, Royce.
I do think there's probably is some, something going on there, and rightfully so. The players probably aren't going to completely tip their hand over what they're talking about. I don't expect them to. But to our dynamic about Clubhouse and having fun and everything we're seeing on the field, and even when I've been in the Clubhouse off the field, I do believe there is a legitimately great clubhouse in there with the Twins. And there's been times in Minnesota sports where they've had good teams and maybe not the best clubhouse dynamics or locker room dynamics. I fully buy in to the dynamics and the clubhouse leadership the Twins have in place here. Carlos Correa, I do think, is the hierarchy of that. Rightfully so, a guy who's won a World Series and been to it all. But I love that they have these type of relationships. They have these types of moments. Pablo Lopez is doing Wheel of Fortune, like all that fun stuff. I think that is my favorite thing about it. I mean, and winning makes things fun too, obviously. When you're into losing streaks, which the Twins have had, they haven't really started throwing chairs and getting pissed off at each other. They've kind of just stayed their course, and it's paid off for them.
Yeah, it's I'll go back to the word swaggy. It just feels like, I mean, even if you're the pitcher and you see Correa lapping around the base paths, and then he goes to Royce Lewis and whispers something. And by the way, he also then went to Jose Miranda coming in up the steps to jump into the on deck circle and whispered to him too. And so I don't know if it's like to throw the pitcher off, if it's actual advice, or if he's just like saying something goofy that only Royce Lewis can hear and understand. But no, it's little things like ultimately like hitting a ball over the fence or hitting a ball off the fence. That's the best form of leadership. But there is something to be said as I fling my pen here. So there's baseball vibes every day. It's a grind. It's easy to check out, especially if things start going the wrong way. Because you're around each other so much more than other sports.
Mm-hmm. One thing that's really been interesting about the Falvey years, and this predates Baldelli as well, is that clubhouse at times has been toxic and at times it's been fantastic. And it's so weird because it's like in the Lance Lynn year, right? They got Lomo, they got Lance Lynn, they had, was it the reliever at Addison Reed, who was just a Richard, and that clubhouse was just toxic. And then they got Nelson Cruz and like Correa, just marvelous. Like everyone gravitated towards him. It was fantastic. Okay, that's awesome. 2019, I think a big part of that was that clubhouse. Then they get Donaldson. Just a toxic dude. I mean, just a cancer. Players couldn't stand him. And now I agree with Dex. It's absolutely fantastic. And I think the one guy that we don't talk about enough. So like Royce is just a breath of fresh air every day. Mm-hmm. Carlos is the captain. Jorge Lopez is the guy that orchestrates all of this goofy stuff.
Pablo.
Sorry. Why do I keep saying Jorge Lopez? Jeez. Pablo, thank you.
I think he's available, by the way.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I keep saying that. Anyway, Pablo orchestrates all of these like celebrations and stuff, and it's fantastic. I think it really works because, to your point again, Phil, these guys are together so much that if you don't break it up, like if you don't do things that are fun, I think you start to go stir crazy.
Yeah, guys get in. Yeah, stir crazy is a good way to put it. Guys get in their heads. Okay, Joe, what is your current favorite Twins thing besides vibes?
I've got a few things here. I'm trying to debate, but you know what? I'm going to go with this one. And it's something that happened in the second game last night. I'm going to ignore the fact that I believe it was the next inning. His glove looked like a frying pan mallet, but it's going to be the Austin Martin catch in center field to rob the home run, which turned out to be an absolutely huge play in the final score since that game was close. But I mean, this is Austin Martin, like to go back to the catch that he got banged up on a couple weeks ago in St. Paul, and now this catch. And we've talked about this. This guy can flat play center. He's athletic. He's got the speed. He's got the skill. He obviously has the hops because that catch was a really, really difficult catch. So if Buxton, when he does not play, I will go back to, I think Austin Martin should be the guy who is in center field when Buxton is not. I think he profiles more. We can go back and forth about his play in left, and yes, he can improve. But if you look at Sunday's games, Castro, to his credit, made that unbelievable throw, played the carom perfectly in left, and gunned the guy at second base, which we thought he had no chance at. And then in game 2, Martin makes that catch. So Austin Martin, to me, making that catch just further solidified that if Buxton is going to sit, and he's going to sit sometimes, there's no question about that, Martin should be in center.
Yeah.
But I do think the path obviously is him not being an everyday center fielder, right? Because he's logged down with Buxton there. And if Martin can work his way in there once a week when Buck needs an off day or if he's DHing, I think that's fine. But if like Austin Martin is going to be an everyday player with the Twins, he's going to be in left field.
Yeah,
he's got to be a 3-position outfield guy. There's no reason why he can't play. He should just be like your super utility outfield guy. Yeah. Play all 3 positions.
But let's stop torturing. Well, first of all, let's stop the sending him down. Like, he should not be one of your first options. The guy has proven he can hit, he can get on base, he can play. So let's stop with that. The shuttle stops now. And let's also not have, hey, should we play Margot in center today? Maybe Castro plays center. No, Austin Martin plays there if Buxton does not. I'm just trying to clear up the problem of let's get creative there. Let's stop with that. Let's make Martin the center fielder on days Buxton rests.
Yeah. Okay, my favorite current Twins thing, aside from the obvious Carlos Correa and Royce Lewis, the Twins are making contact. So if you go back and look compared to last year and even in just the first 5 weeks of the season to the end of April. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the beginning part of this year. The Twins had 14 double-digit strikeout games before the end of April. They've had none in the last 10 days, only 6 since May 1st. So they have completely cut out the double-digit strikeout games, and they've gone from, comparing to last year, the number 1 strikeout team in baseball and in baseball history, to now they're 16th. They're just middle of the pack. They're an average team in terms of striking out, which is a huge... Now, you get rid of Joey Gallo and Michael A. Taylor. There's a couple major culprits there. True. And you swap in for... even like Austin Martin doesn't really strike out. You've gotten rid of a couple of the biggest black hole strikeout guys. So that's a huge part of it. And this math may not sound like much, but their strikeout rate as a team was 27% last year, 27% of plate appearances. It's 22% this year. Okay, well, that's 5. Take 100 plate appearances. That's 5 strikeouts you're turning into batted balls. 2 or 3 of them go for hits. Yeah. 1 of them goes for a home run. And, you're going to come to the plate. That's like in every series, basically, you're putting 5 extra balls in play. And those are going to lead to something. It might be an extra run or 2 here or there. It's an extra win over the course of a couple weeks. So I just love that they're finally making contact. They've gotten better even since the start of this year. And you're not really going to do much in October if you're giving away 10 to 12 strikeouts to start every single game.
Mm-hmm. And this is a little inflated, I think, because of the last week against Colorado and Oakland. But last year, the Twins lineup, especially against left-handed pitching, struggled because they had the surplus of lefty options there. And obviously, guys like Kirilloff and Matt Wallner and Julian were lefties, so they were going to mash against righties. This year, it's actually kind of flipped. The Twins have the second best OPS as a team against lefties, against left-handed pitchers. And batting average-wise, they're the best in the American League. So it's kind of flipped now. After a team, we went into this year thinking, oh, wow, look at all these lefty sophomore hitters that are probably even going to have another great season. It's kind of flipped a little bit now. Got guys like Manuel Margot, who people wanted cut, who now is one of their best hitters against lefties. So It's kind of weird how sometimes it evens out like that. But I do think, they'll just the lack of not striking out all the damn time has made life a lot easier, too.
Baseball.
Okay, least favorite thing here to round out the state of the Twins. And a shout out to our friends at the St. Paul Saints. So listen, they've done a really good job getting Austin Martin ready to come up, contribute. Royce Lewis.
Wallner is just raking in June.
Yeah. Matt Wallner, we're burning a hot streak there, unfortunately. But if you want to see Matt Wallner rake at CHS Field, you can stop by the ballpark. So during the Toledo series starting tomorrow, all sorts of fun things. Friday night fireworks coming up, pickleball night on the 22nd with ticket package to get your own exclusive Saints branded pickleball paddle. So there's always something fun going on at CHS Field. We're going to be there on Thursday night hanging out. I think we've decided Declan's going to throw out the first pitch on Thursday night at the Saints game.
As long as I don't bounce one, and I'm not going to the mound. I don't think I'm going to the mound.
I think you'd rather bounce one than like airmail the catcher, though. Or
That's
do a
probably
50
true.
cent where you hit a camera person off.
Don't hit the pig.
You know?
Yeah, just
don't hit the
Mudana,
pig.
just be ready. Okay, let's be ready here.
What if you tossed it underhand? Just
I
to
will
be
not
sure.
be doing that. No, I will not be doing that. I'll just rear back, hand the cookie jar four-seamer and just go over the top.
Tickets and full schedule at saintsbaseball.com. Saintsbaseball.com. Okay, what is your least favorite Twins thing
Baseball.
right now?
Kind of hard to have one after a great week they had, but I will say my least favorite thing right now is the Caleb Thielbar experience. I think we're nearing the end here.
Why are we still doing that?
Yeah. At this point, it's time to move on. And he has an ERA near 9 on the season. Now, he's gotten roughed up a lot in the last 2 appearances, especially against Colorado. I mean, he kind of single-handedly lost that game for the Twins. And Rocco has always really trusted him, not even just lefty on lefty, but lefty on righty. But, dude, he's 38 years old. He's not as sharp as he once was, which is what happens when you're 37 years old.
Yeah.
But you will have to you're going to have to probably rely on Steven Okert maybe more, because at one point this bullpen had 3 lefties in it. Like, they had Funderburk, Thielbar, and Okert. Well, now if you ship out or if you do DFA Thielbar at some point, that leaves you with just Steven Okert. And Funderburk was a nice story last year, but I wouldn't feel great about him being the second lefty for a playoff bullpen either. You might be in the market for a lefty bullpen arm at the trade deadline. But my least favorite thing, awesome story too in Caleb Thielbar. It's a badass story, but I think it's time to end the Caleb Thielbar experience.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I mean, he's 37. It's been a good run. It just kind of seems like he's out of answers. And if it was end of April, so give guys some time. But once you get into June here, you got to be careful who you continue to be patient with at this point when you're still chasing 2 teams in your division and the losses start to pile up. So, okay, Judd, what's your least favorite Twins thing?
I think we saw confirmation about this last night in the second game as well. But we need to stop trying to make the Louis Varland as a starter thing happen. He's a reliever, and he's good at it. So last night, they left him in slightly too long. He got 2 outs, and then he gave up he gave up 4 consecutive hits. But so he pitched 4 1/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts. But the majority of that time, in relief, in a short burst, he was really, really good. It's just, I don't care. He wants to start. Okay, I get it. Everybody, I think there's a certain pride thing there. I think some guys still don't get that, hey, you know what? You're a bullpen arm, but you're really good at that, and you can make a lot of money and be successful. The more I see Varland do that in the playoffs last year, for much of his appearance last night, he is a bullpen guy. And when he does that in short spurts, he's really good. Let's stop trying to acquiesce to the player. And let's just say, you know what, dude, we have found a role. You're successful there. You don't have to be a starter.
You know what's strange is when he went down to AAA this year, when he got demoted, they really wanted him to work on his changeup. And he threw it a ton in AAA, and they really wanted to hone it in. He threw 3 changeups yesterday in the 54 pitches. When he made the spot start earlier last week, he also just threw like a half dozen in the 60, 70 pitches.
Right.
I wonder if there's just evaluation of, look, we want you to have more pitches in your arsenal. You can't just be so one-dimensional with maybe 1 or 2 of your pitches. We need to add a third one, which is normal. But I wonder if at this point they're just saying, all right, you've tried the changeup. Maybe it's not working to where we need it to be, so ditch it. Like, you got a great heater. Can you then get your knuckle curve into where it's supposed to be? That's been one of his main breaking ball pitches. It is interesting because they've asked him to completely add a new pitch into his arsenal. He's been using it at St. Paul, and actually I think getting very good results with it, and it's not being utilized here up in the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, it's so obvious. And plus, you could use another, unless you think that this run by Stallmont is, translatable to like high leverage situations regularly. Yeah. I just like Louis Varland solves so many problems. Just another dude in your bullpen, along with Griffin Jacks. Maybe we'll see the best version of Duran at some point. And by the way, Simeon Woods Richardson has sort of taken the spot that you thought Louis Varland was going to at the bottom of your rotation. You'd still need another starter at the trade deadline because this thing is being kind of patchwork together. But yeah, I don't know how much more evidence you really need. Okay, and then my least favorite Twins thing was me finding out the hard way about a platoon outfielder from 20 years ago.
Oh, God.
So I'll just go through this real quick.
Oh, God.
It was a bad weekend for me on Twins Twitter here, apparently.
What'd you do?
So I was at the game on Friday night with some friends, having a great time, watching the Twins come back from down 4-0, and Florida was doing his thing. Good time, right? And whenever I go to games, I love to spot the most obscure jerseys. It's always fun to see, like at a Vikings game in the plaza, somebody rocking a Fuad Revez kicker jersey from 1991 or something.
Yeah.
So I saw a guy getting a beer with a Dustin Moore jersey, like a faded. I didn't even know they made those. So Dustin Moore, he's a platoon hitter. It was Dusty Keelmore. We blended Dustin Moore and Bobby Keelty together into one human being.
Yep.
And so I put out on Twitter, I love tracking down obscure jerseys at sporting events. And here's a picture of this guy with a Dustin Moore jersey. So I asked him, where'd you get that? He goes, I'm actually from Wisconsin. My girlfriend's from Minnesota, and she found it at a thrift store. It's my only Twin shirt. I just wear it when I come to games. And he's like, yeah, it's great. And I was like, that's really cool. He's obscure from 20 years ago. So I posted on Twitter. And a bunch of people start replying, have you Googled Dustin Moore recently? So I Googled Dustin Moore. And this is from late April in the Fort Wayne. Looks like one of the Fort Wayne TV stations, Wayne 15, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Dustin Moore, a former Major League Baseball player, will spend 9 years in an Indiana prison after pleading guilty in March to 3 sex crimes against a 13-year-old. Yeah. So,
didn't I tell? I
nice jersey, buddy.
I looked this up about a month ago. I thought I told you. I must have told Dex and AJ
nope,
in
this
the
was
office
new to me.
About it. So the Dustin Moore story is this. He actually married Denise Johnson, who was in the PR department for the Twins.
You were telling me about this.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew that.
And then they obviously subsequently have gotten divorced. But yeah, I don't remember why I looked him up, but I found that. I'm like, oh my God. I must have told
apparently
about that.
So I threw out, wait, hold on. Oh God, always Google first with a link to the story. And apparently not, unless you're following the crime blotter in Fort Wayne, Indiana, you might not have seen this, but so Dustin Moore.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
Ugh. Anyhow, yeah.
Well, it wasn't obscure jersey,
what's Bobby Keelty up to?
The spirit of your tweet, though, was, hey, it's an obscure Twins jersey.
It was literally like, hey, it's
like
great.
It's not like you keep track of these guys once they're done.
No, but maybe the rule should be always Google first, whether it's a trade at the deadline and you're wondering if the guy has a torn UCL or
in your defense, I feel like these people are they trying to say that you just found an obscure
This
jersey.
is gotcha because there's a lot of people playing gotcha here that
I gotta admit, if I saw at a Vikings game a sharper jersey, which by the way I've seen before, I would tweet it out and be like, this is an interesting choice.
Maybe you should Google him first.
Yeah, I mean, I like what's the statute there? Once they're done
but I think your tweet would imply that it's an interesting choice of jersey.
Yeah.
Mine did not. Mine was this is a great shirt. Look at this jersey, everybody.
Dustin Moore. Hey,
Dustin Moore.
You should have seen what his Twitter handle was. Tagged him and be like, "What you up to, Dusty?"
Does he
just
get
3 solids a day, Phil.
Does he get 1 tweet a week?
I get 3 solids a day, and now I'm gonna go play baseball. You're still playing? Yeah, on my prison team.
Oh man. So there's your state of the Twins here on the Score North Twins show.
Oh, can I get one more thing in too? After seeing them in action, the City Connects, no problem with them.
Yeah, they're a lot better in person.
I have zero
On the
problem with
field.
them.
A lot of people freaked out about uniforms last week, I feel like.
They did the rankings. The Athletic did a ranking this morning now that,
And
Twins were out of 28, because only like 28 have released City Connects. I thought it was all 30, but
are
only
not
28.
doing it.
Oh,
The Yankees will not do it.
Too good. Too good.
Yeah, that's what they said.
The Twins were 20th out of 28, so they weren't the worst, like fans are making them out to be. They weren't the worst.
Fine. I think they're
so
fine.
the Yankees come in and say,
I don't know who the other team is. Yes, the Yankees specifically said we don't need to do that.
okay, guys, very precious. We get that you've had the same uniform since Babe Ruth didn't even have a number
Then they
yet.
changed the NY look too. Like last night, they had it some funky look. So like, it's not like they don't change their thing.
So pretentious.
Their uniforms.
It's ridiculous. All right, that's a wrap on the Score on Our Twin show here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. You can follow Declan's Extra Innings podcast on the Score on Our Twin show YouTube channel and on the podcast feed. We'll see you guys next time.